at the end of the day, marketing isn't brain surgery. It's about consistency. And that is one of the biggest areas of lack with most businesses, brands that we come across.
Follow the Leader features dynamic women entrepreneurs in their journeys to becoming a success in business. This podcast is an inspirational space for entrepreneurs, future entrepreneurs, and thought leaders as they share their keys to success. I am Chanel Christoph Davis, the CEO and founding partner of the largest woman and minority-owned sales tax advisory practice in the country, Davis & Harmon, LLC. Today on Follow the Leader, we have guest leader Laurel Mintz. She's the founder and CEO of Elevate My Brand, headquartered in Toluca Lake, California. She writes a weekly column for Inc. magazine entitled On Brand. She's been featured in Entrepreneur Magazine, USA Today, the American Marketing Association's magazine, and she has received numerous awards, including the LA Lakers Women's Business Award, WBE Who Rocks Award, Los Angeles Business Journal Women in Business Award, and her clients include Saks Fifth Avenue, Susan G. Komen, and Bassett Furniture, to name a few. So welcome today, our guest leader, Laurel Mintz. How are you doing?
Hey.
You're looking good.
I'm so well. Thank you for having me, Chanel.
This is going to be fun. You're in sunny California today. You look so bright and cheery over there where you are. Amazing.
Yeah, 72 and sunny. Can't beat it in November, right?
You can't beat it. You can't beat it at all. So I was very surprised when I looked at your bio that you started your career in the legal field. You were an attorney, general counsel. So
yeah, don't hold it against me though.
What? You switched from being legal counsel to founding a PR and marketing firm. That's quite a switch. So tell us about that. How did you start? What made you jump in with both feet into entrepreneurship, first of all, and second of all, switching from legal to such a creative business?
Yeah, it's definitely a big conversation and one that I often have on these kinds of podcasts. Really, I started as an attorney because my Jewish parents, that's what you do. You were either a doctor or a lawyer.
Okay.
So I went the lawyer route because I couldn't stand blood. So I went to law school and I actually just really didn't enjoy it. So I ended up getting an MBA, which was in marketing. So you can see how I already have the kind of creative and the cerebral side as well. And then I did follow through and go past the bar, and I worked at a firm called Covington & Burling, which was corporate M&A. Mm-hmm. And the first year that I was there, my dad actually got really sick. Healthy now, so everyone could knock on some wood for that. And I had to basically step down from my law firm and step in to run his company, which was the Bassett Furniture brand.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay, so then you were in-house legal counsel for Bassett Furniture?
I was, and I was interim CEO. I stepped in and ran the company for 3 years while he went through what he went through and survived, thank God.
That's amazing.
But what that really taught me, Chanel, was that I was an entrepreneur and not a cog in someone else's wheel. So it was really interesting how something that I had thought completely had derailed me from being on this very linear partner track actually put me on the right path.
Interesting. Yeah, I read your description of what you did and when you were in-house legal counsel, and I was like, that sounded torturous. I know that people make a living. We need folks that can draw up contracts, review contracts, button them up and make sure that, you protect the entities. But I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds like a day-to-day, definitely a grind.
It was. Like I said, I was so lucky that I got the opportunity and the experience to run a company at such a young age. I was 26 when that was happening. Uh-huh. And when he stepped back in and I stepped away, I just started kind of schmoozing and connecting with people, much like you and I connected.
Yes.
And realized that there was such a need on the marketing and business planning side of the universe, the business universe. And that was really my skill set. So I kind of just was a little, cocky 26-year-old.
Right.
Like, I could do this.
No big deal.
And I did.
Okay.
No big deal.
Well, I'm sure you use your law degree every day, though, in business. I'm sure.
I do. I definitely do. It teaches you how to think differently, how to structure deals differently. And I won't curse on the air, but it definitely makes sure that people don't F with you.
Right. You can negotiate a contract like nobody's business. Red line on agreement, yeah. So, our background, me being in accounting and having a degree in accounting, we had to have a business law class that was a part of our curriculum. And so, yeah, we can tear up a contract and redline it. We send it back to people and they're like, okay. I think it takes folk off guard because I think people most commonly just sign things. They don't really read it, whereas, we will tear something up and send it back.
Well, it's good for you to have someone like you on their side for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So you pivot and you started your business in 2009. So we're coming up on 10 years in business. How does that feel?
Well, hopefully I don't look it.
No, you look gorgeous. That's the benefit of starting at 26, right?
Or of being in Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. So how does it feel looking back on 10 years? That's a huge milestone.
It is. It's a really big milestone. We've had great success as an agency. You mentioned a couple of our big clients, but we're working with brands as big as Verizon Digital Media, Zendesk, Sprinkler, Paw Patrol, for those of the listeners that have kids. And so these 10 years has just been an incredible journey. I've learned so much about myself as a human, as a leader. And I'm just so lucky to have had the team and the experience that I've had to date. And I'm really excited about what the next 10 years are going to hold for us.
Wow. So what are some of the biggest lessons you've learned in the past 10 years? And what are you taking forward into the next era of your business?
Great question. This actually, if I'm being completely transparent, this was a really challenging year for us. I felt like I was really in love with my business the last 9 years. And this year was just really challenging for a number of different reasons. And so this year, I think I learned more about myself as a leader in the company than any other year of running the business. And what I learned is that I'm a little less patient than I would like to be. So I need to work on breathing and being present and, working out and meditation and all those things have certainly helped with that. And really trust is such a big thing in my industry for our clients to have trust in us. And then for me to be able to have trust in my team that they can execute and that I don't need to micromanage. So I learned a lot about myself this year that I will be certainly carrying into 2019 and beyond.
You have a pretty decent sized team, 12 people. That's a lot of people to manage. So how are you handling that? Do you have a layer between yourself and your employees? Do you have like a director of operations, or how do you handle all that? Because it comes with executing the project, but there's also a huge component of having employees, which is managing the human resource side of it. Is such a huge asset, but it requires a lot of care and management.
Oh, so you've been in the office with me this last year. So that's exactly what's been going on.
It's a transition. It's a transition from when you have one or two people. I mean, it's cute when you have one or two people, but when you start building, when you start adding heads, it gets real, and you realize you have to have systems in place and organization and culture. It becomes this whole bigger thing that you ever could have imagined. It sounds cute to have employees, but it's a lot of work.
You're telling me. Yeah, it's definitely the most challenging part of the business is making sure that everyone on the team is happy, productive, doing what needs to get done. The people part is always the hardest part. And yes, we definitely have layers of management. But at the end of the day, I'm the founder and CEO and the buck stops with me. So for me, I think what I do best is bringing a unique culture together. We have an incredibly diverse workforce, which I'm super proud of. And we have on our all hands meetings on Mondays, I always do something that's like a little woo-woo guru. Like yesterday, we did an abundance meditation for like 15 minutes before we got into like the meat of the work. So fun. I think I've done a good job of building really strong culture for our team.
I love that. So you walk in and you're like, okay, today we're going to do an abundance meditation. So sit back, relax.
Yes.
And what are they saying when you walk in and you introduce these new concepts?
Well, I mean, we are in Los Angeles, so a lot of the team are yogis, and they're into that. Certainly, there have been people on the team who have not been so into it, and I don't require that it happen, that they participate. But I do think that it creates a bond between the team members when they participate. And a lot of it's not as woo guru as that. A lot of it is more purpose-driven. So, for example, we'll put up giant Post-its and ask people what they believe their purpose at the agency is, what they believe their purpose on the planet is, so that there's a deeper level of understanding.
Okay, I like that. No, I don't think it's woo-woo at all. I mean, I think that, I can, when you're talking to me about, the things you're doing with your employees, I can envision the environment. I can see it. So I think you have to create the environment that you want to be in, for sure.
Absolutely.
So, and then
you can come hang with us anytime.
You see? And what it does is it creates a culture, right, and a framework, and then those who fit, and those who don't fall away. But you have to create the world and the environment that you thrive best in to make it the most productive and exciting workplace for everybody.
Absolutely.
Okay. So tell me about your plans for 2019, because we're at that time, everyone is kind of buttoning up 2018 and kind of documenting what they have accomplished and already starting to put plans in works for 2019. So what's on your agenda?
You mean besides world domination?
Yeah, of course you're going to take over the world. Duh. Then on day 2, what are you going to do?
10 years is a big milestone, So we're really focusing on our growth model for 2019.
Okay.
That 10-year model. And for us, it's, the Q4 for us is always an insane quarter because people, like you said, are starting to figure out that they either don't have the right plans for 2019 or they have extra budget that they need to make room for. So this is actually a really, really busy quarter for us. So as much as we try and do internal planning, which we will do at the end of December, this is kind of like a hustle month for us because people are coming out of the woodworks and all of a sudden they're ready to sign scopes and we're like, oh, wow. Oh crap. Okay. We've got to get our you-know-what together.
So they're calling you in to do, scoping meetings. You're pitching ideas. You guys are coming up with strategy for 2019, but that's exciting. That sounds exciting.
I would say it's mostly client-facing, not as internal as I'd
Right, yeah. So that makes sense because we were going through that process as well. It's kind of buttoning up contracts and talking about negotiating what we're going to do for next year. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. So are you guys going to do anything significant to celebrate 2010? Sorry,
10 years? Yeah. So our tenure is in February, and honestly, haven't even had a second to think about. Right now, we're planning our holiday party, and keep our feet on the ground with all the things that have been coming in. That's been really exciting. So we'll for sure do something to celebrate, and it will definitely include cocktails of some kind.
Very important to have the proper beverages. Yes. So talk to me a little bit more tell us about Elevate My Brand. First of all, I love the name. It gives me an instant understanding of what I should expect when I contact you. It's very purposeful, the name that you picked. So tell me a little bit about it and what would we expect if we were to contact you? What are some of your prime projects that you work on? Just give me a little bit about your company.
Sure. So we're a full service agency, and if anyone has ever worked with a marketing agency, it's fairly self-explanatory what we do, right? We are a full digital agency, which means we do web, content, social, advertising, and creative. So that whole suite of what's happening online. And then we found in the last couple of years that there's been a really big resurgence in terms of experiential. So what I mean by that is launch events, trade shows, conferences, national field marketing, anything that our clients need to get in front of their audience to touch them in real time, because we found that there was kind of a disconnect between a lot of these big brands and their actual customers because everyone went so far to the left of digital. And now we're seeing that that's coming back, and we're doing a lot more IRL or in real life events with them. So between those two, that keeps us pretty busy. I would say it's about a 70-30 split, digital to experiential. Okay.
So the majority of your client base is in the LA area?
No, actually, we're pretty global in terms of our reach. We've got clients all over the U.S., of course, Canada, Switzerland, France, Mexico City, the Bahamas. Our newest client is out of New Zealand, which is very exciting.
Cool.
So yeah, we're pretty global.
That's awesome. So what are the trends in PR and marketing that we should, as business women, CEOs, which is our prime audience for this podcast, what should we be thinking about if we're trying to innovate and elevate our brand?
Well, first of all, thank you for the name drop. We love that. But I think back to that original conversation we were just having about experiential. So people were so excited about digital, and digital is certainly an amazing world that allows you to touch customers in a much broader stroke than
So when you say digital, you're talking about social media as well as web-based.
Mm-hmm. Anything content marketing, social media, advertising, anything that happens online, basically.
Okay.
But what we're seeing is that people are wanting to do more live event work, that experiential side, because what we can do as an agency and what a lot of smart brands are doing is making sure that there's a strategy for offline and how they're using offline events to create an online experience, or at least create content that has more evergreen longevity online. So an example of that, do you have kids?
Yes, daughter.
Young kids. So you know 15. The Paw Patrol brand?
No, 15. So 15, I'm not familiar with Paw Patrol.
So for the listeners who have young kids, Paw Patrol is probably the most prolific and maybe most annoying kids brand on the planet. Although I shouldn't say that because
no, it's your client. That's what you're saying. She didn't mean that.
They're just everywhere, right? So everyone who has young kids knows the Paw Patrol brand.
Okay.
So they hired us to do this experiential campaign. U.S. and Canada was 14 cities. We gutted Nathan Wheeler, did this crazy, experiential build out where parents and kids could interact with their favorite characters come to life, tied in the nonprofit element. But the call to action actually from the client was to increase their database, their digital database, so that they could continue to market to those clients over time.
Okay.
So we were able to use this offline experience in a really strategic way to increase their database. And their request was, I think it was between 15 and 20% of increase, and we hit 32%.
Wow.
Because we were so clear about our KPIs, our key performance indicators and goals prior to execution.
Okay. So are you oftentimes on site with the client at these events?
Well, luckily, I've got a big enough team that I don't need to personally be out there all the time. For example, we've got an event in Chicago and New York and Seattle this week, and I'm not physically going to be at any of those. I'm actually going to the TED Women Conference in Palm Springs immediately after this conversation. Yeah, I'm really excited about that one.
Okay.
But we definitely usually have at least one or two team members on site. It depends on the scale and scope of the event, of course. A huge national conference is a very different experience than a C-suite level executive dinner that's really just 20 to 50 people. So It depends on the type of event.
So you're doing intimate events as well for your corporate clients, dinners and strategic rollouts for smaller groups as well?
Absolutely. We do a lot of national field marketing, and that tends to be at a very high level, C-suite level, kind of executive invite only. So the brand that I was talking about, the events we're doing this week is for a brand called Sprinkler, which is the largest enterprise software in social listening. So their whole goal is to talk to CMOs. And so that's exactly who's in the room. And they really only have a handful of clients or targets rather in any major city. So that's who we target.
Interesting. Huh. Okay. And then I never thought about that from a marketing perspective, but you're right. If you're trying to get in front of a certain audience, that is a form of PR and marketing. You're being strategic and basically building your network of people that you want to be in your sphere of influence. So I never thought about it like that, but that's pretty interesting. Okay. So it seems like we are moving more away from a digital world, and we're kind of taking a step back to be a little bit more analog, right? One-on-one, more tactile. You're talking about intimate dinners, trade shows, experiential. That's very different from where we were probably 7 or 8, 5, 6 years ago. Everything was all about going online. You have to be online.
Yeah.
And in person.
And you certainly have to still do that. But for example, perfect example, even these small intimate networking dinner things are, for 20 to 50 people, but we get a lot of imagery from those. We tag all the brands online. We do email prior to and follow-up posts. Sometimes they'll do blogs or video content at those events. So it's not that we're going away from digital, it's that we're going back to experiential and using that in a digital capacity. Does that make sense?
So they're basically serving each other. They're integrated.
Absolutely, yes.
So what I'm gathering from what you're saying is you have to make sure that when any CEO, small business, medium-sized business, large, when you have events or you're having an experiential, outreach or you're in front of people, make sure you're capturing what you're doing in video as well as in photo, because you can parse those things out. You can sprinkle them out over time. And that gives you some legs for what you've just experienced.
That's exactly right. And, one of the things we always talk about with our clients is like, what are the touch points, right? Usually it takes anywhere from 3 to 5 or maybe even 5 to 7 touch points before someone knows, likes, and trusts your brand. Okay. So think about how many different components it has to be. That should be a social media post. That should be maybe some advertising, an in-person event, some email marketing, some content marketing, and that's just 5, right?
Right.
So that's a way that we can use the offline in an online capacity and vice versa.
Okay. So are you saying to women business owners to hire a personal person to follow them around and take videos and pictures of them? Have your own paparazzi? Because I'm into it.
I mean, yeah, no, for you, absolutely, 100%. I think it's important to have that someone to capture that content, but without the strategy behind it and understanding how you're going to use it, the content alone is not sufficient to maximize the value of the dollar spent perhaps in experiential. So I think it has to be strategic and very thoughtful and thought out in terms of process.
Okay. So do companies or small businesses, women entrepreneurs, contact you to have you evaluate their online presence or evaluate what they are doing or their direction and just allow you to give them an assessment?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, that's one of the first things that we'll typically do with a brand. We actually have it's an offering that's a little bit more kind of truncated, and it's a brand analysis where we can really get into the meat of a brand, and we give them a report on what their competitors are doing in the space, what we think they can do better, how much it's going to cost, the timeline for execution, all the components that people really need to understand how marketing will efficiently support the growth and evolution of their companies. Okay. So yes, that's absolutely a starting point.
So you
have to have a baseline.
Yeah, you have to know exactly, because I think otherwise you're just throwing things out there and you don't know what's landing, what's missing, what's on brand, off brand. You don't want to confuse.
Frame model.
Yes, you don't want to confuse your audience. So I want you to spend some time explaining the difference, because we're using terms interchangeably, between what is PR and what is considered marketing, because they're different.
They are very different, and I'm so thankful for you for asking this question, because I can't tell you how many people call me a publicist and I want to murder them. I'm like, I've got all these degrees. No, I'm just kidding. I don't actually take it that personally, but there is a huge difference between PR, branding, marketing, all of these things. So I wish I had sent you this. We have this great umbrella image that we use with a lot of our clients and a lot of our proposals, and we call it the marketing umbrella. And it's literally an umbrella under which all of the things that we've been discussing lie. So research and development, events, PR, social media, content marketing, advertising. I mean, the list goes on and on. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, the handle of that umbrella is visibility and sales. Okay. So all of these things are actually under the larger marketing umbrella, including PR. Okay. Right? Mm-hmm. And they all have to work consistently together to create that visibility and awareness that will then eventually convert into sales and profitability.
Okay. Okay. So is PR something you can buy? Can you really pay for PR?
I think that PR is a dying, traditional PR, I think, is dying in a certain way. PR used to be all about, well, it still is all about relationships. It's all about knowing the editors at the specific magazines that are within your vertical. And that's actually why we don't do PR in-house. We have publicists that we work with depending on the vertical. So like I said, we have large tech SaaS, we've got food and beverage, we've got CPG, we've got a ton of different categories that we work within. And if we had one publicist in-house, they wouldn't have the relationships with all of those different.
Yes.
Exactly. But traditional PR is really kind of dying. It's more, you can get more bang for your buck by using social media, by creating online relationships, by using influencer marketing. Obviously, this differs from vertical to vertical and brand to brand. But PR is essentially the art of pitching a story and getting it to land in some sort of publication, whether it's digital or print. That's the essence of PR.
So you're just pitching to the masses, and if they pick you up, then they'll come out and talk to you and create their own, I guess, piece on you. But you really have no control over what they're going to write or say.
Well, I mean, you can control it with sending them the kind of content that you want them to include. So that's why having a press kit is still extremely valuable, or a one sheet, or making sure that this is an interview style so that you can have input in terms of what the story looks like. Mm-hmm. And that's why publicists are, to some degree, still relevant. But for me personally, we do a ton of PR, but I do a lot of my own PR. Like, this is considered PR, this conversation right here.
Absolutely.
And it was because of a relationship that you and I built together that that you reached out to me and said, I think you'd be a good fit. Could a publicist do that? Yes. Am I going to be spending them $5 to $10,000 a month to do that? Yes. So to me, I don't know if that's a good use of dollar spend for most brands.
Okay. So you mentioned the concept that I keep reading about, and that is being an influencer. And I keep reading about micro influencers, or people who have small reach that they're becoming more, I guess, in vogue than folks that have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people following them and looking at them. For an average business, let's say you are, let's just use myself, why not a tax practice? Mm-hmm. How would that fit in the average person's world? Does it fit? Does it not fit? Because influencer, I'm thinking about people who are, pitching makeup and, TPP, tangible products, hair, that's what I think of when I think of influencer. Am I thinking too small, or is it broader than that?
I think influencer can work for any category. You are you B2B or B2C?
B2B.
Or both?
B2B.
B2B.
Mm-hmm.
So B2B is an entirely different animal in terms of marketing, and we actually know that very well also. Specifically for digital, B2B is a bit more of a challenging target because your lead times tend to be a lot longer. So that's why influencer is typically used for more CPG brands, as you noted, because you can see if this person posted and there was a link to buy or an affiliate link to buy, and the audience of that influencer bought, everybody wins and the dollars are in the bank, right?
Yes.
It's a very, very clear, linear process. Mm-hmm. For B2B, it's not quite as linear because those lead times are a little longer, and it's harder to what's called attribute the marketing to the end result. Mm-hmm. So the KPIs or the key performance indicators have to be a little different for B2B.
Okay.
So it's mostly follower increase, open in terms of newsletters, click-throughs on content marketing. So that's not to say that influencers can't be effective for B2B or for your specific market. Because at the end of the day, how many times have you made a purchase or hired someone based on someone else's opinion, right? Mm. That's really all that influencer is.
That's what it is, yeah, absolutely.
It's just volumized.
Okay, interesting. So I guess looking forward into the future, thinking 5 years ahead, what should business owners be thinking about in the world of marketing and PR for their businesses? Because I've seen a lot this year about video content. Everyone's talking about you have to be on video. You have to post video. Specifically on social media and on your, blogs or your, content on your website should have some type of video component. I have thoughts about that, but, okay. Some trends you just have to kind of.
What's the reason? That's the question. Is what is the reason that people are saying that you need to do video? Do you know the answer to that?
I guess they're thinking that you're reaching more people. It's more, like you're saying, interactive. You can express your knowledge and expertise better via video. I mean, hey, we're doing video right now, right? So I'm sort of doing that as well. I think it should be done. I'm not a marketing PR person. I'm a tax professional, but I think it should be done sparingly. I think sometimes video pops up in feeds and I'm like, okay, now you posted a video every day this week, like settle down, I mean, at the end of the day, you're an attorney, settle down. But so I think it could be overdone, but I think people grab on the trends. They hear experts say video is the next big thing and they just all rush and flock to it. So
Well, I'm going to give you a little bit more reasoning behind why video is important, because I think that that's the missing piece. Is people, like you said, hear experts saying video is the new, black or whatever, and everyone goes to it without really understanding why they need to do that. And the truth is it's because the two largest search engines in the world are Google and YouTube, and people don't think of YouTube as a search engine. And so in terms of being a marketing expert, the reason that we suggest people do consistent video content is because we know that the end goal for all of these businesses, whether it's B2B or B2C, is to increase their following, increase tracking to their website, whatever those KPIs are. And by doing content consistently, both through video and then through written, so you're playing nice with the two big giants of Google and YouTube, you can organically increase your search without spending a dollar. That's just organic.
Okay.
Now, then if you apply some advertising dollars to that content and push them out through content engines like Outbrain or Taboola, then you can see your numbers exponentially increase. So I think it's more than just it's more than just content for content's sake. It's more than just putting a pretty face on camera. There's really some strategic components behind it that are the reasons certain brands have been so successful.
Okay.
So I think that that's a piece that people need to take away from the video conversation.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. So looking forward, though, what's the next plateau? What should we be expecting to be next? What's next?
Well, I think that if I knew that, then I would be a billionaire, I think marketing changes too quickly to tell you what's going to happen in 5 years. If I'm being completely honest, I would be lying to you if I said, this is the next trend, 100% no, everyone just needs to do this. At the end of the day, what we do, while certainly there are some innovative components, marketing isn't brain surgery. It's about consistency. And that is one of the biggest issues or areas of lack with most businesses, brands that we come across. So I would say more than anything, it's just about being consistent and really understanding what you're doing across each channel and how you're measuring success. So there's no magic bullet. I think influencer is going to continue to grow. My prediction, if I'm allowed to make one, is that Facebook will kind of own something in the influencer space and will kind of kill all of these smaller engines that are out there doing influencer marketing. So it's going to be an integrated social component with some of the main big players.
Okay.
And then content marketing is going to continue to be super important. So video. I think that's still really critical. I think that's my prediction.
Okay. And how does LinkedIn play into this whole world for businesses, for business owners?
LinkedIn is, for B2B, LinkedIn is a huge tool. I can't tell you how many times I've had PR opportunities, business opportunities come across my desk because someone connected with me through LinkedIn. And you're also able to get to other people who you might not be able to reach because you can connect with them through LinkedIn. But like anything else, again, it's about having a strategy and
being
a process.
Consistent.
So you can't do and consistency. Yay. That makes me so happy that you said that. It's its own animal. I mean, you really have to be dedicated to doing LinkedIn a couple hours a day if you're going to make it your main business development driver. So like anything, you have to commit to it, be consistent, and follow through.
Okay. And I guess for certain platforms, do they boost video over just written text? Like would the algorithms, serve up a video post more than it would if you just posted like a blog post?
The algorithms are always changing, so I can't really speak to that completely honestly, but most of the platforms, Facebook, Instagram, obviously, and LinkedIn, are certainly pushing more towards video and helping boost views content based on that kind of content. Okay. Now that said, really the thing that's going to get you the most visibility, awareness, and boost is spending money on advertising, and that's the direction of all social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, all of them. So you got to pay to play. Yes. That's another big takeaway I would say of the audience. Like you can't just expect that you're going to put great content out and that's going to be your magic bullet. You've got to put advertising dollars behind it and A/B test your messaging, your positioning, your targeting. There's so much that goes into successful marketing.
Okay. So how do you keep your brand moving forward? And how do you make sure that you're fresh? Because while you're always working on, all these fabulous campaigns for different brands, sometimes the cobbler has no shoes. Kids have no shoes. So how do you make sure that you're constantly moving your brand forward?
Again, it's consistency internally at Elevate. And so we have people on our team that are dedicated to consistently putting out. We've got 2 newsletters. One is called EM Biz, which is more for businesses to take away
that one. Yes.
Yep. And then the other one is EM Buzz, which is about what's happening internally at the agency. So it's new clients, it's press, it's upcoming events, things of that nature. So that's one way that we try and stay relevant. We do a lot of content marketing. I do a ton of video. I do Facebook and Instagram Live. And I speak a lot. So that really allows me to stay, I think, pretty relevant and create consistent content that feeds that marketing machine for us as an agency.
So you're also out there public speaking.
You know it.
I love that. And you mentioned something that you didn't talk about this first time you dropped it, newsletters. That's very traditional, right? And you're still using that as a part of your strategy. So I think that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, email marketing is still absolutely relevant. And, you know, the great thing about digital is that the numbers don't lie. Like, the numbers are all there. Whether you're spending money on advertising, whether you're on social media, or whether you're just doing email marketing, you can see what your open rates are, what your click-throughs are. You know, that is so valuable to make informed decisions about how you're going to move forward with your marketing and your spend. Okay. So email marketing is absolutely still relevant.
Awesome. So anything else, any other tips you want to share with you're the guest leader. You're the one here to give us all your wisdom. Definitely, I'm going to give them a piece of wisdom. Contact elevatemybrand.com if you're looking to elevate your brand. She's amazing. But other than that, what would you say? Some takeaways for our CEOs.
Yeah, I think for the CEOs, it's about making time to work on the business versus in the business. And, you know, we all have that as an issue when we're running at 1,000,000 miles an hour. But the truth is that good marketing shortens the time from that first point of contact with a prospect to close a business. And to me, that is the most important thing. To you, that must be the most important thing.
Absolutely.
If you can create a system that allows you to shorten that time frame, that means that your revenue is going to significantly increase, and you're going to have to put forth less effort to close that business and to convert to sales. So that's the truth of what great marketing does when it's done the right way.
Properly. Okay. So what do you do for fun?
Oh, yeah, that. No, I love to travel. Actually, I have a really big birthday coming up next year, and we just booked Japan, so I'm super excited about that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We've
got fur babies, which we love, and I love to cook. We're constantly cooking and drinking great wines and going to fabulous restaurants and living the dream.
Amazing. So I have one final question for you, and we'll wrap this up. How do you define a great leader?
Wow, that's such a loaded question. I think a good leader knows their strengths and weaknesses, is working towards strengthening their weaknesses, but also can delegate the components that they just know they're never going to be good at, so that they can be the most efficient in what they do for their team and for their business. And I think that you just have to keep pushing the boulder up the hill.
Yes.
You know, I think most people who aren't entrepreneurs yet feel like it's an overnight success thing, and it's definitely not. You just got to keep putting one foot in front of the other, and knowing that if you have a bad day one day, the next day is going to be better. And that's what true leadership is just really continuing to push your team forward with a positive attitude, good energy, creating the right culture, and getting it done.
Nice. So persistency, being persistent, and resilience. You have to stay focused on the goal. Nice. Well, thank you so much, Laurel. Keep your eye on the prize. Thank you so much, Laurel. This was awesome. And I know that everyone who's listening is going to be writing feverishly and rewinding and pressing to hear what you have to say. So we really appreciate you joining us today and giving us all this great information and wonderful tools.
Thank you for having me. Can I mention one more thing?
Sure.
So on our website, elevatemybrand.com, there's actually I think it's the upper left-hand corner, there's a downloadable free marketing guide that they can use to create their own plan.
Awesome.
Or just use as kind of a touch point. So I'd like to offer that to the listeners.
And we will definitely tag all your information in the show notes, so they'll be able to click on links and get to you right away. But thank you so much, Laurel. This has been awesome. Enjoy your event today. All right.
Thank you. Talk real soon.
All right. Bye-bye. You can find all of our past episodes on iTunes, Spotify, and Google, or any of your other favorite podcast platforms. Be sure to subscribe to the show, rate, and leave us a review. Let us know how we're doing. Thank you for listening.
You're listening to RMCN, the digital destination for premium talk radio.